Today, we're going to dive into what self-talk is and a couple ways you can change your self-talk to improve your fitness and everyday life. A lot of today's info comes from a book called Chatter by a psychologist named Ethan Kross from the University of Michigan, or at least the last time I checked, from the University of Michigan. So if you're interested in more of the skills that he talks about in that book, go and check it out, or you can find him at ethankross.com, and that is Cross with a K. Let's get to the episode. Let's start off with what self-talk is. I think this is kind of intuitive, but we all sort of know self-talk is the chatter or sort of first-person perspective voice going on in our head. Now, sometimes that inner voice is helpful, sometimes it's not helpful, sometimes it's neutral, sometimes we don't even notice it, but whenever it's negative, it can be fairly detrimental. An aspect you'll notice about that voice is more often than not, it comes in the first-person perspective. So like, let's say we were at a social event or gathering and we say something we didn't want to say. The sort of inner talk or self-talk that we have is like, why'd I say that? I'm so stupid. I'm dumb. I'm the worst. I, me. So that kind of I talk is our self-talk in the first-person perspective. Cool thing about our self-talk is we can change that and shift it to two other perspectives that helps get us some distance from some of that negative thinking. Now, this distant self-talk comes in two different flavors, second and third person. Let's start with second person. So with the second person perspective, let's say you're getting ready for your first bodybuilding show, you're backstage, you're getting ready to get on stage, you didn't practice posing as much as you should have, so you're getting a little nervous. So instead of having some negative self-talk sort of take over your consciousness, you can shift into the second person and sort of coach yourself through it. You can say things like, all right, you got this. Let's go. You put in the training. You can do it. That second person perspective, using you instead of I, this allows you to get a little bit of distance from some of those negative first person perspective thoughts. So shifting into the second person. Next thing you can do is shift into the third person perspective by talking to yourself using your own name. Now, I know that sounds kind of weird, but hear me out. Why would you want to use your own name? So when you break it down, when you use your own name, you're getting even more distance from some of that negative first person talk. So instead of, I can't do this, I don't know how I'm going to do this, I'm not going to win. Instead of that talk, you shift and you use your name kind of like a coach. Really what this is doing is allowing you to coach yourself. You begin to say things like, all right, Josh, you got this. So it's sort of a mixture of that third and second person perspective. Josh, you put in the training, you can do this, let's go. Something simple like that. So using your own name, sort of shifting away from that I language and more to you language, that's the second and third person perspective. So what's the practical tip here? So what I would like you to do is create a mantra. Mantra? Whatever. More often than not, we have reoccurring themes for ourselves that come up in life. If we're generally anxious or worried people, there's a good chance in various aspects of our life that is going to be the case. If we are ruminative people and we think a lot about the past and a lot of our negative self-talk is about the past, chances are those themes are going to come up. So developing a mantra will allow you to come up with just sort of a phrase or a key thing that you can tell yourself in moments when you're not feeling your best so that you can perform. So my simple phrase, really simple, yours should be too, is, come on, Josh, you got this. 6 words. And that is the mantra that has worked for me. It's worked for me in making these videos. It's worked for me in bodybuilding. It's worked for me as a professor. It's worked for me in any number of areas. It utilizes the third person and the second person and gets me some distance from that negative first person perspective. So the next time you encounter some negative chatter, check out Ethan's book or create your own mantra and coach yourself through, because I know you've got this. And I'll see you in the next episode for another mental skill. See you there.